Welcome to the deep dive. Today we're taking a really fascinating journey into the hidden forces that shape our online shopping habits. Have you ever been scrolling through an online store and suddenly felt this irresistible urge to click add to cart or maybe hit buy now almost without thinking why? You might have just experienced the subtle, powerful influence of what's often called subconscious messaging in e-commerce. We've got a fantastic stack of sources for this deep dive, including some really in-depth psychological research into consumer behavior and also a close look at an innovative Shopify app called Growth Suite, which actually puts, many of these principles into action. Our mission today is to kind of pull back the curtain on how these hidden cues work, where the boundaries lie between persuasion and perception, maybe, and how they're revolutionizing the way online businesses connect with you, the customer. This deep dive into e-commerce psychology is powered by Growth Suite. Growth Suite helps you run smart discount campaigns on your store, powered by an understanding of visitor behavior. You can actually test it for free on your Shopify store right now.
Just head to the Shopify App Store and test it for free.
Yeah, it's a really remarkable field because while we all like to believe we're completely rational shoppers, the truth is something like a staggering 95% of our purchase decisions actually happen in the subconscious mind. So what's particularly striking as we begin to unpack this is how online businesses are, well, leveraging that very fact to create experiences that resonate on a much deeper level.
Wow, 95%. That number, it really shifts how I think about my own online habits. It's clear this isn't just theory, right? It's powerful practical application. So, okay, let's start with the basics then. What exactly is subliminal messaging in the context of e-commerce, and how did it go from being this sort of historical oddity to something so relevant today?
Well, at its core, subliminal messaging basically refers to signals or messages embedded in content that are designed to influence your decision-making without you even being consciously aware of them. These hidden stimuli, they kind of bypass your conscious mind and speak directly to your subconscious, often influencing your mood or perception. And its origin story is quite a tale, actually. The concept gained widespread attention way back in 1957. This guy, James Vickery, claimed flashing "eat popcorn and drink Coca-Cola" in movies dramatically increased sales.
Oh, yeah, I've heard of that.
Right. But the thing is, what many people don't know is he later admitted he totally fabricated those results.
No way. So it was a hoax.
Pretty much. But despite being a hoax, the idea itself, it just persisted, And it sparked a lot of genuine scientific inquiry later on.
So, okay, it started with a myth, but through actual research, it's evolved into something far more sophisticated now.
Exactly. You fast forward to today, and it's much, much more nuanced. Modern e-commerce platforms use, well, everything from subtle animations to AI-driven personalization. It's all about gently guiding decisions without triggering conscious defenses, and crucially, without being deceptive. That's key.
And that 95% figure you mentioned, decisions happening subconsciously, that's just massive. For online businesses, what does it mean they can actually do with these techniques? What's the impact?
Well, it means these techniques are incredibly powerful tools. They can help reduce cart abandonment, when people leave stuff in their cart. They can increase average order values, build genuine emotional connections with the brand, and really enhance loyalty over time. Think of, a countdown timer on a product page, creating that sense of urgency, or an add to cart button in a specific shade of orange.
Yeah.
These aren't random choices.
Right.
They're carefully crafted subconscious cues designed to optimize the whole shopping experience.
It's incredible to think our brains are doing so much work just below the surface. So what's actually happening inside our minds then when we encounter these hidden signals? Are we really that susceptible?
Yeah, it raises a really important question about how our minds work. It basically comes down to what psychologists call dual process theory. Your brain has two systems, essentially. System one, that's the fast, automatic, emotional, largely subconscious one, and system two, which is slow, deliberate, and analytical.
Okay, so system one is like the autopilot, and system two is the conscious pilot.
That's a great way to put it, yeah. So while your system two is consciously comparing prices or reading reviews, your system one is busy absorbing all those subtle cues, colors, layouts, even a brand's tone of voice, and is forming impressions without you even realizing it.
So our brain is almost like an iceberg then, with most of the action happening below the waterline.
Precisely. Exactly. And another key mechanism here is priming. So if a site subtly incorporates images that suggest reliability, or uses language that evokes trustworthiness, you're actually more likely to feel secure and, trust them with your credit card details at checkout. And it's not just about thoughts, it triggers actual neurochemical responses in your brain.
Like dopamine, the reward chemical people talk about.
Yes,
Yeah.
exactly. Dopamine creates feelings of pleasure and anticipation. So e-commerce sites use subtle techniques to trigger dopamine release, creating these positive associations. Like, for example, a little satisfying animation when you add something to your cart. That can give you a tiny reward hit.
Mm.
And also, there's the amygdala activation, which processes emotional responses. Think of a charity ad with a really powerful emotional image. That's your amygdala working, creating an immediate kind of non-rational connection. In e-commerce, carefully crafted imagery can create similar emotional connections that might even override rational thinking about price sometimes. And what's really remarkable is that even information presented too quickly for your conscious perception can still be processed and stored in memory. So repeated exposure to a brand's subtle cues can create these lasting impressions over time.
That's truly remarkable how deep these influences can actually go. So, okay, now that we understand a bit about how our brains are wired for this, what are the specific clever techniques e-commerce businesses are actually using beyond just, simple color changes?
Oh, they're everywhere once you start looking for them. Visually, you've got things like subvisual cues. These are elements embedded in a design that you see, but you don't consciously register, like the classic example of the FedEx logo's hidden arrow suggesting speed.
Right, I see that now.
Yeah. And color psychology is huge, of course. Coca-Cola's red implies urgency and excitement. Facebook's blue suggests trust and stability. There's a reason add-to-cart buttons are rarely just plain gray. Visual hierarchy is another one, how elements are arranged to subtly guide your eye towards the most important things on the page, like the buy button.
Makes sense.
And auditory techniques, while maybe less common than visual, are definitely growing, especially with video content. Think about sonic branding, like the Netflix ta-dum.
Instantly recognizable.
Exactly. Or Amazon's little ping sound. They trigger immediate emotional associations almost instantly.
And I guess with all the data available today, it must be getting even more advanced, right? More personalized.
Absolutely. This is where it gets really interesting. We're talking about digital and neuromarketing methods now, which are pretty cutting edge. Take microanimations, that slight bounce an add to cart button might do when you hover over it. Or how an image smoothly expands.
Yeah.
Those aren't just for looks. They direct your attention and give you subtle, positive feedback. Then there's AI-driven personalization. This is huge. Algorithms analyze everything, your browsing patterns, purchase history, even how you move your mouse on the screen.
Really? Mouse movement?
Yeah, sometimes. And they use all that data to deliver precisely targeted cues that feel incredibly relevant just to you. And gamification elements, things like progress bars during checkout or little reward systems, they trigger dopamine, create engagement, and can make the experience feel, well, almost addictive sometimes. And this is actually an area where a tool like Growth Suite really shines. It leverages this behavioral tracking to predict purchase intent, so it can deliver tailored, maybe time-limited offers to visitors who seem like they might need just that little extra nudge. It makes the whole experience feel uniquely personal.
That sounds like a really powerful way to personalize without being, well, creepy, as some merchants we read about worry about. Now, okay, the effectiveness of these methods seems pretty clear, but where do we draw the line? The line between simply persuading a customer and potentially manipulating them.
That's a crucial point, definitely. The evidence does suggest a real impact, like increased brand recognition, stronger emotional connections, and of course, improved conversion rates. A/B testing consistently shows that optimized subliminal elements can genuinely increase clicks and conversions. A really compelling example, I think, is Spotify's Wrapped feature at the end of the year.
Yeah, everyone loves Wrapped.
Exactly. It uses nostalgia, data visualization, and gamification to create this really powerful emotional experience. It subtly conveys the message, Spotify understands you personally, and that forges a strong bond based on shared memories and insights.
But it's not actual mind control, right? Like it can't make you buy something you actively dislike or don't need.
No, absolutely not. It's not a silver bullet or some kind of magical override button for your free will. Its effectiveness is very context dependent. It can't make you buy something you have zero interest in or are fundamentally opposed to. It works more like a nudge. However, and this is important, if consumers discover they've been influenced in a way that feels deceptive or manipulative, the loss of trust can be incredibly detrimental.
Okay, so there's a risk there.
Definitely. Take Revlar's Impossible Beauty campaign, for instance. It was intended to inspire aspiration, but for many, it instead triggered feelings of inadequacy. The result, a reported 21% decrease in consumer trust because the perceived subliminal manipulation became conscious and felt negative. Similarly, Huawei's initial crisis communications, which were consciously meant to reassure people, apparently created subconscious signals of defensiveness that actually contradicted their main message, undermining their efforts.
So it works best when it aligns with conscious values and genuinely enhances the value proposition, rather than contradicting things or feeling sneaky. It sounds like the key is about adding to the experience, not detracting from it.
Precisely. That's exactly it. The ethical consideration is crucial here. When does effective persuasion cross the line into manipulation? It really comes down to respecting consumer autonomy and being mindful, especially about protecting potentially vulnerable populations. In the US, for example, the FCC prohibits deceptive subliminal techniques in broadcast advertising. And in the EU, the GDPR requires transparency around how neuromarketing data is collected and used. Really forward-thinking brands prioritize this kind of transparency to maintain trust. They understand that genuine connection is built on openness, not trickery.
That makes perfect sense. Okay, so drilling down a bit more, how do we see these principles applied in just everyday e-commerce, like on the websites we browse all the time, the product listings we click on, and those marketing campaigns that seem to follow us around?
Oh, they're absolutely everywhere once you know what to look for. Website and UI design is a big one. They use carefully chosen color schemes, maybe calming blues for the checkout process to reduce anxiety, or energetic reds for sales to create excitement. White space isn't just empty space, it's used strategically to manipulate attention, guiding your eye to key elements. And microcopy, those small, often overlooked bits of text, things like "only 3 left," subtly trigger FOMO, the fear of missing out, or secure checkout, which builds trust right at a critical moment.
Yeah.
Even subtle loading animations can influence perception, making you feel like the site is loading faster than it actually is.
Clever. What about on specific product listings?
Yeah, look at Amazon, for example. Their Buy Now button is often visually isolated, making it seem like the primary, almost inevitable next step. Price psychology is everywhere, too, like strike-through pricing showing an original higher price crossed out next to the current price. That creates a subconscious anchor for value, making the current price seem like a great deal.
Ah, the anchor effect.
Exactly. And social proof indicators, star ratings, reviews, maybe even little notes like X people bought this recently. These create automatic trust and a sense of, shared experience or validation. And these elements, much like the personalized, time-limited offers that Growth Suite can generate for merchants, when they're combined with things like unique discount codes that disappear after use, it all creates this powerful, really seamless experience. It drives immediate purchasing decisions, often without the merchant needing to manually intervene for every single visitor. It's about automating that psychological nudge.
And what about in the emails and ads that land in our inboxes or follow us across the web?
Well, subject line priming is a classic. Using words like free, exclusive, or maybe your name triggers dopamine and curiosity, making you more likely to open the email. Personalized visuals are becoming more common too, selected by AI based on your past browsing history. They create subconscious recognition and relevance. That's for me. And retargeting timing, when those ads pop up again after you've looked at something, it's often carefully calibrated. They aim to hit you at moments aligned with psychological decision cycles, ideally just below the threshold where it feels annoying, so it feels more like a helpful reminder than an intrusion.
Right, finding that sweet spot.
Yeah, it's all about working with your subconscious, not trying to fight against it.
What's really insightful here, too, is how tools like Growth Suite can help merchants actually understand these patterns. You mentioned their analytics. Things like their funnel report can pinpoint exactly where customers are dropping off in the buying journey. And the Purchase Insight report can reveal things like the average time it takes someone to purchase or how many sessions they need before buying. That kind of data lets merchants intelligently apply these psychological tactics for much better results. And importantly, for you listening, if you're a merchant, you can actually test Growth Suite for free on the Shopify App Store. Just head over there now and test it for free.
Looking ahead now, AI is really set to revolutionize subconscious influence even further. We're talking hyper-personalization on a scale we haven't seen before. Imagine AI crafting individualized narratives or even predicting emotional states to deliver perfectly calibrated cues that feel almost prescient.
Wow. And what about immersive technologies? Are we talking about shopping in, like, the metaverse?
Yes, exactly. Think about AR and VR shopping environments. They'll likely incorporate subtle, subliminal spatial cues, maybe multisensory integration sounds, perhaps even smells, eventually blurring the line between conscious and subconscious perception even further, and even virtual social influence. Seeing what avatars representing other people are doing or buying in spaces like Meta's Horizon worlds, that will absolutely impact purchase decisions, mimicking real-world group dynamics but in a virtual space.
Fascinating. And maybe a little unsettling.
Well, the good news is ethical innovations are emerging alongside these technologies. Things like transparency tools that might show users how algorithms are targeting them, and maybe even things like cognitive defense training helping consumers recognize and maybe resist overly manipulative techniques if they choose to. So the future isn't necessarily about more powerful manipulation, hopefully. It could be about creating more meaningful connections and actually empowering consumers with more knowledge.
So wrapping this up, what does this all mean for us as consumers and also for businesses navigating this complex e-commerce space? It really sounds like we're not just buying products anymore, we're engaging in this intricate dance with our own minds, aren't we?
I think that's a great way to put it. This deep dive really shows that subconscious messaging in e-commerce, it's based on science, not magic. It's incredibly effective, yes, but arguably only when it aligns with conscious values and genuinely enhances the user experience. The most successful and ethical campaigns, they use these techniques to help consumers find products they genuinely want or need, rather than just tricking them into buying something. So for merchants, it's really about auditing your current approaches, making sure your conscious messages and your subconscious cues are aligned, focusing on enhancing value, not just pushing a sale, and definitely investing in measurement to see what works while staying ahead of these powerful trends ethically.
So it's really about being smarter, more empathetic maybe, not just louder.
Exactly. It's about creating a win-win situation where business achieve better results precisely because they are truly helping customers make choices they'll ultimately be happy with.
So the next time you're browsing online, maybe pay a little more attention to those subtle cues, the colors, the button placements, the wording. You might just catch your subconscious at work, subtly guiding your clicks and choices. It definitely makes you wonder, if our purchasing decisions are potentially 95% subconscious, how much of our online identity and behavior is truly our own free will, and how much is being meticulously crafted by these unseen forces? It's something to keep in mind the next time you click buy.
And just a final thought for Shopify merchants listening. If you are looking to apply these psychological principles ethically and effectively to boost your sales, remember that Growth Suite offers optimized templates and customization tools. They're designed specifically with conversion psychology in mind. It's really built to leverage these very insights to help you grow your business.
That wraps up our deep dive into the absolutely fascinating world of e-commerce psychology. We really hope you gained some surprising facts and maybe some valuable insights today. And a big thank you again to Growth Suite for powering this deep dive. Remember, Growth Suite helps Shopify merchants increase conversion rates and sales by understanding visitor behavior and strategically presenting personalized, time-limited offers. You can test it for free on your Shopify store. Just land on the Shopify App Store now and test it for free. Until next time, keep digging deeper into what truly matters.